This way. Where are we going, Jojo? Where we go? Where we go? Where we go?
Do we need camels? Well, do we? I'm asking. Do we camels? Alright. The dog. An Amber.
Hi, it's Tara here, and Russell from Australian Camels.
Yeah,
and
g'day.
I'm obviously Tara, and this is Russell. And what you don't see is all the animals around us. We've got a director dog over there. We've got a director dog here. We've got a director donkey, and we've got two little director goats, and a little boy, and a cat over there somewhere.
And the camels.
Oh yeah, they're there.
They're up
We've got
there.
camels too, don't we?
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
So we wanted to have a chat with you, sort of like a coffee chat, even though we're not drinking
I
coffee.
haven't got any coffee.
I don't really drink coffee.
I do.
But I have a chai.
Latte with a muffin.
Oh, what? So we want to have a chat with you about the importance of actually getting your camel to sit down, or some people say hoosh, or some people say kush, or some people say sit down. So yeah, we wanted to have a discussion with you on why that's important for you and for your camel, and for your training in the future with your camels, regardless of what you're doing with them, really. So did you want to lead off with that?
Yeah, sure. I've got a little saying that a camel that can't sit down on command is next to useless. Now that sounds harsh, but I don't mean actually useless. I mean that it's just a paddock pet at that rate if they can't do that. And that's, you know, a real shame for the camel, because there's a donkey here, by the way. But it's a real shame for the camel, because they do like to be worked, you know, they do like that interaction.
Sorry, just to interrupt, just to go back to what you're saying about even just a paddock pet. Well, if something happens to that camel and it needs veterinary emergency care or whatever, that camel has to see it. You know, more than likely,
Oh, definitely.
9 times out of 10, if any injections need to be done. So even having a pet camel, it's also really important to that they know how to sit.
Oh, totally. Yeah, no, that's right. And, you know, thinking more along the lines of, you know, doing expedition work or even riding for pleasure or commercially, to be able to load the camel with the saddles and the blankets and everything else that goes with it, the bells and whistles. I mean, you know, just to have them sitting there on command, and that's all you're asking them to do, is just simply sit there. Yeah, you're not asking rocket science. You know, they know how to sit really well. They're experts. They really are.
Yeah, like there's some camels just up behind us, and they're doing sitting quite expertly.
Oh, they're experts. Yes, yeah, expert is a great word.
And
you know.
and I always say that, you know, like the best thing that camels are good at is sitting down and doing nothing all day. You know, any of your camel owners that own camels, you know that they love to sit down, chew their cud, and that's just what they like to do for all of their life.
So we're not asking them to do something they don't already know what to do.
And it's natural. It's not like a trick that they need to learn, because you know, for instance, asking a horse to sit down on their bum. There's a donkey here.
Yeah, you can see the donkey there.
Asking a donkey to sit down on its bum is unnatural for it. In retrospect to a camel that does that sort of thing every day, and why are you trying to eat my hand? This is Amber, by the way. I think she wants to.
She wants to be a star.
And her ears are
She wants to be a star.
So yeah, we might have to move the camera a little bit. Up a bit. You can just be the director over there.
That's it. Yeah, so getting back to it, you know, like teaching your camel to sit on command. It's not teaching them something new, but it is teaching them that you want them to do that action at that moment in that location. And like a good camel ear. I mean, you can have camel ears, but really ones that can actually feel what the animal's thinking and feeling by being inside their skin in so many ways. And what's nice to sit down on, is it, what sort of slope, where's the sun, there's all those sorts of things. So thinking from the camel's perspective, what's nice, and where you choose to go ahead and locate that camel to do that action of just sitting. There's another important thing though, Tara, that has come up in the past when I've been training camels with other people, and that was that for the dairy industry, the camel dairy industry, is it important? Now here's the question, okay, that came about from a conversation. Is it important for the camel to learn how to sit for the camel dairy industry? Considering that the camels will go into a race and they're expected to stand there while the cups of the milking machines go on the camel. So is it important for them to know how to sit down?
Is there a question for me?
It is a question.
I think I know the answer.
Well, because I told you. But
yeah, of course it is, because if a camel's scared, the first thing that they will do, or one of the many first things that they will do, is they'll sit down. And if they're sitting down in a dairy race and you're trying to milk them, how are you going to get them up if they don't know how to get up? But they know how to sit down, obviously, on their own command, but it's out of fear more than anything, and you can't get them up. And we've worked with camel dairies before, basically telling this story is that it's so important that you're able to get the camel up or down, regardless of whether you're milking or not, because if you're milking in a race and that camel does sit down due to fear or whatever reason, sometimes they just do it because they like to do it. So yeah, it is really important that the camel knows how to get up and down. It just makes sense, I think.
Well, that's it, exactly. Then if you've taught that camel to sit down, you've also taught the camel to stand up. Okay, the two go hand in hand, and in the training process, and we learn that with the level 1 training course. Yeah. So if the camel sits down, you can stand them up.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's as equally as important as sitting down is to stand up.
I think also equally important to that is the commands of that is also for dairy cows and for any camel, but specifically we're talking about dairy camels, is that it's about creating that bond.
Yeah.
So that they're not being milked out of fear. They're wanting to actually be around you, and they don't mind you pulling on their tits and all that sort of stuff. So, so to speak. So it's the dairies that we have worked with within Australia have just appreciated that bond rather than just taking them through a race and getting substance from them. They actually created a bond with the animal, and the camel looks forward to seeing them every day, and they know their routine, and they obviously are trained to sit and stand and get up. So it just works.
No.
But going to just say if someone's got just a pet camel in a paddock and they don't really want to do anything with it, they just enjoy it as a pet, why would it be important to have that camel at least go through something like level 1 where they've bonded and they're sitting?
Okay, number 1, the camel's going to respect you. Okay, so I think these are my answers anyway. Yeah. Number 1, the camel will respect you. Secondly, if you do need to do some veterinary work, like say if it's been raining and a camel slips and hurts itself, which can happen. It's happened to us, when it just does. And you need to do some veterinary work, then if you need that camel to sit down for that procedure, whatever it might be, then you need it. Okay, but also at the same time it's for your own confidence as well. Knowing that you can go out into that paddock, even if it's just a paddock camel, and that camel has a level of respect because you've done a little bit of work with it. Okay, whether it be just simply the level 1 part of our training process, where you've taught it how to sit down and stand up and hold a lead. Right, it's all part of being a responsible owner to start with. But secondly, it's just that bond. I mean, why do you get the camel in the first place?
Yeah. Well, they're sort of like a great living ornament, like cats, but on another respect, like most people that get camels really want to bond with them. So
sure,
that just makes sense too.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, a lot of the people that we attract to our camel clinics and things like that most of them, I'd say 80 to even 90%, don't actually know what they want to do with camels in the future. And it all becomes clear to them as they go through the level 1 process and the clinic and the bonding, and then the ideas explode, and then they want to do this and that and the other. So in some ways, like, it's kind of like when you start handling camels and you do it in a gentle fashion and a fashion that resonates with you at the core, you know, like, you know, whether for us, obviously what resonates with us is that it's non-violent, that it's gentle, that we're actually creating a bond with the animal rather than just do as I say. That is what makes us want to actually work with the camels more, because they're intriguing. I mean, they've got amazing intelligence, and the more that you work with them, the more you just want to do stuff with them.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that just expands for everybody. And the
donkey wants more of the action. So yeah, no, it's definitely important. I think it's important that you know, these sorts of procedures are actually taught or gone, you know, through a process. Whereby the animal, like this donkey,
she wants to be near us.
She wants to be near us, and she wants our approval. Yeah, I don't know if approval's quite the right word.
We'll go around here so people can see the donkey.
Yeah, there you go. We thought we'd change the camera around so you can see the donkey properly.
Because, yeah, she's a director and she just can't help herself, and she has to be in the show.
She does,
so
yeah.
the camels are over that way. There's goats down there, there's a little boy there, there's dogs everywhere.
Yeah,
anyway, clearly we love animals, and I guess the main point about anything that we do with the camels or the trust-based camel training is that we just want to bond.
No, that's it. And what was I getting to? There was a point there that I was going to make. Oh, that's right. Yeah, the training, and that, you know, the animals respect us. That the animals go ahead and they want to be with us. They want, you know, the approval and the praise and all those sorts of things. Really, it leads into a whole different discussion about treat training or no treat training.
Yeah. Well, I mean, going back, like I remember when you first said to me, you know, years ago when we first met, is about. The camels actually like this work, you know, and this is when we were doing the safaris, and it took years for me to figure out how, like, just to see that, I guess, in action, because I knew the camels loved you, but obviously it takes time to develop those skills that you have as a new cameleer. But now that, like, I can read the animals really well, I'm like, they really love to be with us, and they really love, you know, going on the treks that we do. They love doing the beach rides, and, you know, they don't obviously love the people that are riding them because they don't even know the people. They've not even bonded with the people, but they love us, and they trust that whatever we're offering them, whatever experience, it's new things to see and do. And they really enjoy it, and I guess it's a little bit hard to explain unless you can really read the animal, but because camels are I've found one of the hardest animals to actually read until you know how.
Yeah, they seem really aloof, and I mean, you know, the old misconceptions that are out there, we all know them, and if you don't, then I'll tell you, you know, that they're cranky, they're cantankerous, that they bite, they spit, they kick, you know. Oh dear, it just keeps going.
I guess if you're, I think the point you're trying to get to before, that if you're treat training, like using treats to actually ask a camel to do something, does that mean that a camel wants to be with you?
Oh, I think if I put yourself in that camel's shoes.
Yeah, that's right. They want the food.
Or pads. They don't wear shoes.
I like that.
But think about it, okay? You know, there's a person there. Okay, let's take two people that the camel's looking at. Okay, so camel's looking over here. There's a person that we've done some stuff together. I've had nothing but praise for doing, you know, the things that they've asked me to do. I want to be with that person because I might be after that praise. It's coming from the person. Okay, here's another person over here. Oh, they've got a pocket full of, you know,
gum nuts.
Gum nuts. Yeah, well, whatever. Yeah, whatever. Okay, they've got a pocket full of, you know, yum yums, and person yum yums. Person yum yums. I'm going for the yum yums. All right. Person asked me to do something. I get a yum yum. Okay, I do it, but I'm not really focused in on that person. You know, only for the fact that they asked me to do something, I get the yum yum. But here, the person asked me to do something, and I get praise from the person, not from the pocket.
Yeah.
So, I think the important thing there is in the future, when you're working your camel, which camel do you want to work with? The camel that respects you and your word and your praise and, you know, wants that connection like that, or the person who has got gum nuts or yum yums or whatever inside their pocket, and yeah, okay, I'll do what they say, but I want those yum yums. Hey, what if they run out of yum yums?
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, exactly. And
Well,
you know, they're going to respect that person's word. They might do the action because of association, but that's it. You know, it's that bond that you're wanting. Yeah.
And if you're listening to this video, more than likely, you know, you've been following us and you understand of the kind of training that we offer, which is all, you know, trust-based, and we don't use treats to train. But something that's always resonated with me, whether I'd been training my dogs or training my horses back in the day when I trained horses, I don't anymore, FYI, is that I just, for your information,
Okay, right.
is that I, like, even though treat training just never even occurred to me that would be, because I had always searched for that bond with the camel, and if you're listening to this, you're probably searching for that too, searching for that bond with your animals. So getting them to want to work with you and not work for you to get XYZ at sort of the end. So that's sort of where we're at with that, is we want to work with the animal, with the camel, with the dog, with whatever we're working with, not have the animal work for us.
That's it.
For a particular reward. And sometimes those rewards can be, this is Owen, say hello to everybody.
Hello, bye.
And sometimes those rewards can be, like if we're talking a more dominance-based training, sometimes those rewards can actually be pressure release. You know, but in a dominant approach, it's like massive pressure release, which again is not creating a bond with the animal. I mean, we do pressure release, but in a way that we're building a bond with the animal rather than putting up walls saying, you can't cross this wall, you've got to do, and once you do, I'll release the pressure, and that camel probably wants to go hard right, you know, far away from you as possible.
So, let me finish up with you.
You want to finish up with us? Okay, then, little camel boy.
We're going to finish our chat here because otherwise he will take half an hour to finish whatever he
He will
wants
take
to say.
over. Yeah.
But I know that.
He'll probably take over and want Paw Patrol. Right, so if you've got any old Paw Patrol toys, I will
Except in donations.
gratefully have them, I can tell you that. Yeah, Paw Patrol.
So, I always like dinosaurs, but I do like dragon. But the burn
Dinosaur toys too.
Right,
Taking
okay,
donations now.
So wrapping it up, you know, there is an importance in teaching the camel, no matter what your purpose with that camel is. There is an importance in teaching that camel how to sit down on command. You know, and we've discussed those reasons.
Yeah.
Likewise, teaching the camel how to stand up.
Yeah.
And again, you know, whatever your purpose is, if that's the bare minimum that you're going to do with your camel, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Now my
absolutely.
turn. I always like dinosaurs. But dinosaurs here and the goat.
And that's a wrap.
See you later.
See you later. Bye.
Hey, did you get value from this video or have any questions for us? Head over to our Australian Camels blog to ask your questions or to leave a comment. While you're there, sign up to our email list so you never miss these types of videos, other camel related blogs, and also special announcements and information which we don't share anywhere else. Once you've signed up, you'll get access to our free camel training videos, information ebooks and MP3s. So head over to australiancamels.com now to get your goodies.